Hi, iGamingDude here, in shocking news about Sony's PlayStation 4 exclusive Killzone Shadowfall. So apparently it was supposed to be 1080p 60 frames per second as posted on the back of the case, but Digital Foundry did some poking around recently 3 months after the game was released and found out that it is not in fact 1920 by 1080p, which is native resolution of 1080p, but 960 by 1080p, which is, really drastic in terms of pixels rendered per image. So 960 by 1080p is about 1 million pixels rendered per image, while 1920 by 1080p is about 2 million pixels rendered per image. So that is that's really half of 1920 by 1080p, and that's really close to 720 by, or 1280 by 720p. So that is a really big thing, and also it is not even 60 frames per second, but in reality 40 frames per second, let's be honest. But yeah, this has got some people going really crazy right now, and I want to know how people, or how Sony enthusiasts feel about this news coming out. So I've reached out to some Sony enthusiasts, and yeah, so Jack Turtle Show, do you have any comments about this? Okay, I'm just going to say that he has no comment about this. So, Mr. Moore, do you have any comments about this? Okay, well, I guess these people, Sony enthusiasts, do not have any comments at the subject in hand. So yeah, this is iGamingDude signing out, and as always, Wolfenstein 1080p 60 frames per second on both consoles.
Stop! It's the motherfucking remix!
What is crackin' YouTube? This is your buddy Shauna, and now I'm about to share my personal opinions about the situation at hand. So, Killzone Shadowfall 1080p 60 frames per second, no, 960 by 1080p 40 frames per second. This could single-handedly kill the resolution gate / frame rate wars indefinitely. Before I even talk about that, I'm just going to say that my first question when I heard this news is, Digital Foundry, why did they choose 3 months after the game was released to release this information? Obviously, they did analysis on the game when it came out in November, and they only did it on the frame rate. They didn't, because they trusted in Sony's word, which I hope that's what the reason is, that they trusted in Sony's word that's saying this is going to be 1080p 60 frames per second, and it's going to be multiplayer, single player, everything's 1080p 60 frames per second, and we are a powerhouse. So they probably could have just trusted their words, and then 3 months later did another analysis after an update or something and found out, wow, this is not native 1080p. But I'm hoping that is the reason. But a really plausible reason could be that, Sony said, hey, hush hush, mouth, I'll give you some money if you keep it quiet, man, just wrap it up. Because Sony, they are not opposed to taking risk. They always do risk. They did a risk with the PS3. They did risk with making PSN for free. Sony's not opposed to taking risk. But yeah, back to what I was saying about the resolution gate. This could single-handedly end the resolution gate / 60 frames per second war. Because if you think about it, how many Sony exclusives are 1080p 60 frames per second? It's not Killzone, obviously, not NAC, not Order 1886 or whatever it is, or The Order. It's not Infamous Second Son. That's definitely not no 1080p 60 frames per second. There are no 1080p 60 frames per second, as if I can think of any games that are actually people care about, that are reputable. Well, I know that Forza Motorsports is 1080p 60 frames per second, and that is fine. 1080p 60 frames per second should not be the goal. It should be make the game best looking as possible for the specific genre of games. And in my opinion, if you really want resolution and frame rate, go to Wii U. It has the most 1080p 60 frames per second games. It is a powerhouse because the games do not require that much shit on the screen, and they're good games. Mario Kart, the latest one, that game looks friggin' amazing, 1080p 60 frames per second. Super Smash Bros, that game is amazing also, 1080p 60 frames per second. It shouldn't be a matter of which game has 1080p 60 frames per second. It should be which game's good. And Wii U has good games, with that haven't come out yet. That's why it's not selling, and it has good quality 1080p 60 frames per second. But yeah, that's all I really have to say, man. Just end this resolution / 1080p 60 frames per second. And this graphical competition. It's not a competition anymore. It's just sadness. And you know, recent news has come out that Xbox is selling what, 3 million consoles so far, or at the end of last year they sold 3 million. PlayStation has sold 6 million, and they sold these consoles off of lies. That's really sad, because you know, Xbox has gotten all these partnerships and all these deals because they sold so well last gen, and now that they're not selling well because they're being up straight and not being a lying, backstabbing company, they are being punished for this, and they're not pretending like, you know, they are something when they aren't. So yeah, that's all I really had to say today. So don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe, because I will be posting more videos. And sorry for the mic quality, because I left my mic at my apartment back in Orlando, and I'm not in Orlando right now. So yeah, this is your boy Deshaun, and I'll see you later.